Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Connor Spradling, your host, and this is episode 14 of the Kona 2 cast. This week, we've got a pretty good guest, but of course, I'm joined by our two usual co-hosts, Braden and Nico. How are you guys doing tonight? Braden?
I'm doing good.
All right. We got a lot of energy here in the Kona 2 studio.
Braden usually does that first, so.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you guys are actually seeing the new studio. If you are actually looking at the screen right now, you can see our numbers with little make-believe die casts on the desk. We've got some pictures of the
Believe?
well, they're just renders.
Those are real.
Renders put on the
Those
desk.
are real.
But behind our numbers,
What are you talking about? Those are real.
behind the logo, you've got some highlights of Kona 2 racing, and I'm gonna try to get those pictures switched out every single week so you guys got something fresh to look at. But yeah, we've got a pretty exciting guest this week. This is someone we've wanted to get on the show for a long time. Mr. Robbie Gilvin is in the Kona 2 studio. How are you doing, Robbie?
I noticed you didn't call me special.
That's right.
That's what the state of Kentucky calls me.
Oh.
Anyway.
All right. So, for those of you who don't know, Robbie Gilvin is probably one of the best drivers in the NR2003 community right now. He's up there with some of the best. It's hard to find someone better than him. But yeah, I've really enjoyed racing with you, and I'm excited to ask you a couple questions, and I'm sure these two are as well. What's going on in your life?
Podcasted, Robbie. Real quick. Robbie, you're about to get fucking podcasted.
That's right.
I'm
You're
pressing
ready.
charges.
You're about to get podcasted. Press all the charges you want. It's coming, whether you like it or not.
Giggity.
Giggity. So, Robbie, how's life? How are things going in your world right now?
Somewhere between sunshine and roses and hellfire and brimstone.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, so I'm obviously Robbie is here with us in the Kona 2 studio, but he races for Kona 2 Racing in Essex every single Friday night, which has been awesome to have him do. He's won a very large number of races for us. Half of the Kona 2 Racing wins have come from Mr. Gilvin, so round of applause for Robbie on that. But to get started with our first part of the show, we're going to ask Robbie a few questions, just kind of, things that we'd like to know. And if there's anything that you guys think of that you want to ask him, please go ahead. But first question that I have for you, Robbie, is what got you into NR 2003, and really how long have you been doing it? How long ago did you get started?
I started fooling around with it in probably early mid 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe either 2011 or 2012. Point is that was offline. I remember it was Open Speedway around late February of 2013 when I really started. And I've been, with a couple year breaks in between, I've basically been pulling my hair out on this game ever since.
It definitely makes you want to pull your hair out sometimes, especially when you have some of those iconic post-race server meltdowns. We've had a number of those in the last few months across many leagues.
I've been on both sides of this.
Yeah, me too. So you've been doing it since 2012, and you mentioned that was offline, but you actually run your own online league right now, which is Juan Fitty. I might be saying that wrong, but
close enough.
Yeah, when did you start that, and how long or how far into it are you?
Shit, we've been that's been going on since I think last fall, about September or so. Originally, the whole point of the name Juan Fitty is because we started with wheeling modifieds, maybe 150 lap little special deals.
That's
not
cool.
state of Kentucky, actual special event.
Yeah.
But yeah, and because it was 150 laps, 150 miles, whatever, we called it 150, and unfortunately the name stuck.
It's not a bad name. I think it's definitely unique. You've got a lot of leagues that have kind of generic racing names, and yours definitely stands out for good reasons. It's one that catches your eye when you see it in the ads section of servers.
Yeah, especially if you have it on your Discord taskbar off to the left.
Yes.
It catches your eye seeing that AI picture of Terry Labonte. We call him Terrence LeBoont.
So, you've been doing that since last fall. I'm assuming you're a couple seasons in, or is it just kind of one big long thing?
It's more or less a healthy mix of special events. We've had 2 seasons of something called Camaro Cup, which season 1 was those IROC Camaros, and then season 2 was the new IROC 75 mod DMR put out. We're actually doing a street stock division with that same DMR IROC 75 now. Nice chair, Nico.
That was my ceiling.
Your ceiling? Oh dear.
Yeah.
If it's your ceiling, you might want to get that checked out.
That's not good.
I'm in the basement. It happens.
Why?
Oh, Lord.
Continue.
There's a tornado coming over his house. It's getting ready to rip the foundation out. No,
There's no tornadoes in upstate New York.
you just
You
wait.
say that. It'll come now. You said that. You just signed your death wish.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I saw either today or yesterday the severe weather lookout was right over top of upstate New York.
Whoa,
so-
okay. Whoa. Let's relax now. We're trying to get him killed.
No, we love you, Nico. We don't want anything to happen.
That's
to
not canon. Anyway,
you. Anyway,
going back to the 150.
back to the 150.
Oh, we're doing a street stock division now. We just finished our first race and another Kona 2 cohort. Kez Hiller actually won.
Oh yeah.
Completely blew out the field.
But
we'll get to that
they
later.
were pretty excited about that. But
Yeah,
we'll get to that later.
But that's the newest thing. We've got like I said, Street Stock of DMR 75 is our newest thing. We may expand that to a full season thing with a mix of paved and dirt tracks. It's all dirt right now.
Yeah. That's definitely a league that I would like to eventually at least make a start in. It's just the time slot doesn't work with my schedule, but I've never heard a bad thing about your league.
You're
think
in luck. Our time slot's changing after this season.
Oh, well maybe I'll give it a chance. But yeah, I've always heard good things about your league, and everyone who's raced in it always comes back saying that they had a really good time. I know obviously Kez raced in it recently. Chase Severs had a really good run, and they were really impressed by it. So yeah, I always hear good things.
Ooh, the Kool-Aid's working.
It is working. So I mentioned earlier in the show you race for Kona 2 Racing. Season 6 of Kart is when that partnership started. But I'm curious, just as the team owner, what made you curious about Kona 2 Racing, and why did you approach me and Braden about joining?
Well, I know.
I mean, I do too, but for the listeners who maybe don't know how this partnership started.
I just don't know what Robbie's trying to say. So
I'll let Braden do it in sign language for the hard of hearing. And maybe for the Helen Keller types. No, yeah, I think what it was I actually started with basketball with Tristan and them.
Yeah.
And after Daytona, it kind of got disillusioned with the whole thing. So I think between Daytona and the second race of that season, I think Daytona's. In any case, I hopped on with this originally as a part-time thing, splitting time, like a
Yeah.
like a kid in the middle of a divorce between the two teams.
Pretty much.
And then
Ouch.
But luckily, this won the custody battle, and I've been with Kona 2 ever since.
Yeah.
what in the hell did I just hear?
We love Tristan. The McBasketball Enterprise team is a really good team to have in the community. But yeah, that's
now it's a satellite team of this, more or less.
pretty much. It's where everyone's kind of intertwined. We trade drivers back and forth for special events and stuff.
Very incestuous. That
Yes. So yeah, that for those of you who didn't know, that's how Robbie joined the team. Just was curious about what we were doing. Didn't really, you know, just wanted to come check things out. And he's been with us ever since. So, um, any more questions from you guys about Robbie's NR career?
I wanted to ask. I had a question. I was really interested to ask this, Robbie. Out of like the 12 or whatever years you've been league racing, out of all of those years, did you have a certain league that you ran like a shit ton compared to others? Like, do you think you have like a main league that you've ran?
I'd probably slip that between NNSCRA and Open Speedway, but Open Speedway was like in the first 2 years I ran,
Mm-hmm.
just because I actually kind of got intertwined with like 15 or 20 other people doing the same thing. Kind of wormed my way in, and it started making multiple short-lived leagues and things like that. And say but basically, NNSCRA I've stuck around since about 2014 through all the. They run a Super Speedway series Sunday nights
Mm-hmm.
after the current 150 time, and they do a bunch of special events and things. Like I've won a few races. I actually just won a race this past weekend
Nice.
over there.
Congratulations.
But really, it's between NSCR and Open Speed. All the rest have been short-lived leagues, and I mean short-lived 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Then they fall apart.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
That's interesting. That was a good question, Braden. Nico, do you have anything for Robbie?
Yeah, how about you gonna beat me at Watkins Glen on Friday?
That's what needs to be asked. The important questions.
That's what the fans need to know.
Depends how drunk I am after this gig Friday night.
So that's actually a really good segue into the next part of the Q&A that I have for you. Obviously, you're part of a band. When did that start? And what music do you guys play? How often do you guys have gigs? What's your band name?
I'm actually in two bands. The first one, the more popular one, is Melomania, MELO Mania.
Mm-hmm.
We do a mix of country, country really from the 70s on to present day. Mix of country, some rock, some. We pretty much play everything from Alabama to Foo Fighters to everything in between. Hell, I play banjo on the Alabama tune.
Nice. And your other one?
And then the second one is more the. It leans more into the older stuff. It's called Coffin Station. This is the stuff I write original material for.
Okay.
The band, I should say. And it's more of a mix of country. It's got the country rock element, but since we're a three-piece, just guitar, bass, and drums, we end up with doing more of the blues rock. We've got a funk element. This song I just wrote is kind of funky. The past few I've wrote have been real funky.
Cool. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys have for both bands a page that people could check you out at? I could.
Oh yeah, we're on Facebook. We got it's Melomania on Facebook and Kaufman Station also on Facebook. But
Well, yeah. If you guys
Like
are
studio work, like any songs I could like listen to online, like Spotify or anything.
with well, my solo stuff is on Spotify actually, but it's shit. Frankly, don't go listen to it.
Same with mine. But mine's on
But,
SoundCloud.
we do have a single that we recorded last summer or the summer before. It was. I'm trying to think. Shit, it's probably about a year and a half ago. We went to a studio down south of here in Kentucky, and not Nashville, but it's it was a real funky, real nice studio. We cut a song with our former bass player. See, Coffin Station used to be four-piece. The bass player played rhythm guitar. And there was a song the former bass player wrote called How Long Will It Take You to Leave? It was a real simple, fun little country number.
Mm-hmm.
And we never released it, partially because I didn't feel it'd be right, because the bass player, I mean, he wrote it and he played on it and he'd get credit, but it just wouldn't be the same without him taking it all in. But we've got it in the vaults whenever we feel like releasing it. So
Hell yeah.
Well, if you guys are interested in listening to Melomania or Coffin Station, I will see what I can do about getting their Facebook pages in the description
Oh, we
below.
got plenty of live footage on both pages.
And there you go. You can go check them out. I'll make sure to get that down in the description so you guys can go check out both bands. That's really, really cool. Any more questions for
Oh,
Robbie, you guys?
yo! I got a question.
I'm not a yo-yo. What do you want?
I, I was talking to Connor and then.
Oh.
Anyways, have you ever God, I forgot the term for it. It's like whenever smaller bands play before the big band.
An opener?
I don't know.
Like an opening gig?
Opening, yeah. Have you ever opened for like some decently big bands?
Nothing regional yet. But Kaufman Station has opened up for Melomania, so that's made it interesting. And it's funny you say that because the bass player for Melomania sat in on bass on a couple dates with us as Kaufman Station after the first bass player left. Boy, we went 3 people. So we were hemming and hawing around the idea of having both bands together, and we found it funny because it's basically the same backing band, just different frontmen.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've opened for yourself.
Yes, I've opened for myself. That's kind of a unique experience.
Yeah, I'm sure that's kind
I
of
mean,
funny.
it means I still get, and it's funny because me and the drummer of Kaufman Station are also in Melomania, and we also kind of, I mean, I'm kind of his right hand man on any projects he needs guitar or bass or what have you for.
Well, that's awesome. Any other questions, guys?
Nice.
Anything?
I'm good.
All
You
right.
put me on the spot, man.
Any other
me on
questions?
the
And the crowd
spot.
goes mild. So, moving on to our
Sounds
next.
like a damn Kaufman gig.
Yeah, moving on to our next topic, our next section. Actually, we're gonna do something new called Sim League Central, where we're gonna talk about all the different leagues that we race in. That's something new that I'm trying this week. Is we're actually gonna have each section have a name. So expect the names to change around, but for leagues so far, we're going with Sim League Central. We'll start off with Essex. Essex just went to Iowa Speedway in the main series. Robbie Gilvin won that race, dominated, and the Essex Summer Showdown Series just wrapped up at its second race at Tri-County Speedway last night. So we can talk about Essex first. Robbie, you won the race, so you can take it away. How was your night? What did you think about the track? Did you have a good car? Obviously, you won, so you did have a good car, but
No, yeah, it was a pretty funky little deal there. But it was, I didn't even think I led that much of the race. I knew I'd blown like all but Keith in the 82 and like one other person out of the water. But
let me see how many laps you led here. You yeah, out of 100 laps, you led 91 of them. So Alex Mullen led the other 9. So you led 91%
yeah, that's right. He
of the
stayed
race.
out. Yeah, he stayed out on pit stop or something. Yeah. And I think it was shit. How long was that? Like 15 to go, something like that. 20 to go?
Well, he led 9 laps, so
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm
sure
trying to
exactly
think.
when in the race, but
I mean, but in any case, yeah, it was. Yeah, but the fresh tires won out over that. Obviously, I was
Yeah.
able to get by them with relative ease. I still didn't lap the field, which is kind of a bummer. I'm kidding, of course. I don't. You know.
yeah, for I don't know if we were doing the show yet, but last season at Toledo Speedway, Robbie lapped the entire field, so we actually had Robbie finished
Did you tell
first,
him-
I was second, Braden was third at Toledo last season.
Did you tell them that even after the halftime break, and everybody got their laps back, and
Yes,
still went and lapped the field?
You lapped the field a second time, which was just it was I don't know, it was kind of eye-opening of just how talented you are, but at the same time
I'm embarrassed
it was
I
kind
did
of
that good.
humiliating. Just like, wow. I mean, I ran second like the whole night, and I had nowhere near the same pace that you did that night, but
I don't know what it is about short tracks, man.
you are just really good
I
at
guess
them.
I click. Everywhere else, I'm hit and miss, but short tracks,
Yeah.
9 times out of 11, I'm pretty good at.
So our other short track ace, Nico, you can go next.
are we just gonna completely pass over? Did that just fly over everyone's head?
What?
What?
That's hilarious.
That just fly over everyone's head.
It must have flown over my head.
9 times out of 11.
Oh, yep,
really?
yep, yep, yep.
Oh, he's a Harrison Burton fan.
Yeah,
guys.
he's
I
a Harrison
was
Burton fan.
I was gonna say both planes flew over y'all's heads, didn't they?
Oh my
All right.
God.
Yeah, they flew over my tower.
So,
Jesus
moving
All right.
moving on to
Moving
Nico. You are typically our other really good short track racer, but you kind of struggled at Iowa. I'm curious as to what actually happened because you qualified really well and were running really well, but faded throughout the run. So, how was your night and what was going on?
Pedal issues. For whatever reason, my pedals were doing some funky stuff to where I got to the start finish line and the cars behind me just had a speed boost.
Yeah, you.
He doesn't know this, but I poured maple syrup into his pedals.
Uh,
I'm kidding.
you can't stand me seeing the championship lead for like more than a race or two.
I don't know.
Don't worry,
I think
I ate don't worry, I ate the maple syrup out of the pedals after the race as a token of.
you've got a chance still. You have 444 points, and Robbie's in second with 396. So you've got almost a 50-point lead over Robbie. I think you've got it for a while.
That's not enough. I still somehow managed to finish fifth after all that. Probably because I'm the most convenient short track racer in Essex. But now I get to go home to Watkins Glen, so that'll be fun
Yeah,
for at least a lap or two.
hometown race for you. So that'll be fun to see how you do. Braden,
Yep.
how was Iowa for you? You didn't DNF on lap 2 this time, which is definitely an
Okay,
improvement.
all right.
Not your fault, not
Okay,
your
come
fault,
on.
not your fault.
Come on.
It was Chase
Come on.
Severs who did it to you, but
Oh, ridiculous.
everything
Come on.
is an
Let's
improvement.
be adults here.
All right.
Please and thank you.
let's
Let's
do
be
it.
adults. Let's be adults. Okay.
Yeah, tell it to the last guy who was on this one.
So
Who shall not be named.
Yeah, tell it to that guy.
So,
Jesus.
Projected.
Iowa, Braden.
Anyways, Iowa. I mean, I don't really try to go back and think here. Let me get a little more stoned before I answer that question.
All right.
Did I
right.
lap him?
Probably.
Wait, you didn't lap me? What?
I don't think so.
No.
So
I might be
Braden
thinking of somebody else.
Braden finished
I was like top 10.
Yeah, Braden finished 7th on the lead lap. So yeah, he was not
Okay,
lapped.
okay.
If he was,
I
he
got my
unlapped
idea.
himself at some point. But
So I mean, pretty much. I mean, it was a pretty actually. Yeah, okay. It's kind of similar to Tri County because like green flag run, caution, green flag run.
yeah,
First run lap 1 to 50 or how many? We did 100 laps, right?
it was 100 laps.
Yeah.
100 laps. So
Shorter
we go
than the
0 to
season
50.
finale.
I mean, it was just nice and simple. I think I lost like one spot from where I qualified. It was whatever. We were just kind of on the track, saving tires. And then the second run was a little more chaotic. Initial restart, I got shoved out of line by somebody, then doored by someone else, and then drove through by another person. So I got spawned and wrecked, and that happened.
Yeah.
Then we went on another little run, and I found myself in a battle with Colby Brown, and it was a pretty dope battle
Yeah.
for like the past final 5 laps, and then I beat him for 7th. It was pretty fun. Also, Kez killed themselves in turn 3, so I got a position from that. That was cool.
Yep.
That's pretty much what happened there. I mean, I'm not ecstatic with the finish, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I had I had a good night until the end. I was running top 5 that first stint. Was making passes. You were right behind me. We were both comfortably in the top 5. Trying to chase down the top 3, and we just really couldn't keep up with them. Then that second run, like you said, got a little more chaotic, and I found myself on the outside of 3 wide on one of the restarts. I went up high on purpose to try to get out of the way, and unfortunately, I came up, and Cameron McElreath came up. I came down, and then some netcode happened, and I ended up finishing 17th. So I was the last running car, which was really unfortunate. Um, Definitely hurts in the points. I think I dropped a position in the point standings, but we'll come back from it. And it was honestly a really good race from just an outside point of view. Just the whole race itself. There was a lot of passing, long green flag runs until like the last 25 laps or so. And then cautions breed cautions. We saw some yellows come out. But yeah, I thought it was a good race. I'm excited for the season finale, which should be about 50 laps longer, the Iowa night race. So, I was...
Robbie's listening to us like just in absolute disgust right now.
Yeah.
These mortals talking about mid-pack runs.
I was hoping
mortals
to at least get a top 5 finish at my home track, but it's going to be 17th for me. But, it's fine. We'll come back and hopefully run decent at Watkins Glen. But yeah, the Essex Summer Showdown was at Tri-County Speedway, and smaller field. I think it was 9 cars, but it's a invitational series, so it's supposed to be smaller. And from my point of view, from my seat, I didn't like the race very much. It was really difficult to get the car to do what I needed it to do. I somehow finished third. I did not deserve a third place finish. I qualified last of the qualifying cars. I ran last all night long, but worked my way up to third on pit road with some strategy, and was able to park the bus on the bottom and block Chase Severs from passing me. And then we actually had a little bit of a run-in with the 75 machine of Kez Hiller, and we've talked since then, but Kez and I were kind of upset with each other. They were frustrated, I was frustrated. Just one of the racing deals. We've talked since then, and we both agreed that it was just racing, but didn't deserve a third place finish, but I somehow got one. Nico, you ran first place, led every single lap except the final 2. So how was that?
I don't know, just should have taken 4 tires instead of 2, but doesn't really help the short track ace allegations,
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't call them allegations. Allegations are something you beat court.
Phil won yesterday, so technically I can't beat him.
I don't know. That's true. But yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it was a really fun battle to watch, that final run. Phil was chasing you down, got to your inside a couple times, got to your outside, still couldn't make the pass, and 2 to go. Classic bump and run. Moved you out of the way. Wasn't dirty, just moved you, got around you. It was exciting to watch from my seat.
Yeah, can I make a late petition to not do Oswego dirt and just do Oswego asphalt?
I mean, that you'd have to talk to Kez about that one. Kez is the mastermind behind the Summer Showdown, so
you're gonna ask them that question, and then they're gonna lay their dick on your shoulder. You would have hated
150 then.
I hate dirt racing on NR. On iRacing, I love it, but on NR,
I'm a fan of it. I like it.
I really like it. I think it's fun.
I think it's different.
Consecutive laps going, so
I haven't tried Oswego yet. I am excited to see
it.
Oswego, whatever. I'm excited to see it. But
off we go
to Oswego. But yeah, Braden, how was your night at Tri-County?
I mean, we already talked about it. I mean, that shit was just absolutely brutal. I mean, what a brutal experience. I felt like I was losing my mind, honestly.
It was a pretty exhausting race mentally, just
because I mean, in that first race, I mean, my tires are burning off my car from under me, and I just see the cars in front of me just continuing to pull away. and it stayed that way for the whole run, and I couldn't believe it. Like how, like where's the tire fall off for
It
these guys?
was
How are they keeping this pace?
it was weird
the
because I had the same issue. I was running the same exact lines as these guys. I was even backing up my corners to, be easier on the tires. And after about 10, 15 laps, it just got plowing tight, and I smacked the wall and couldn't really run with anyone.
I bet it's from the extra weight of those fire extinguishers y'all carry underneath those cars to put out those burning tires.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Nah.
So,
it's really
I
not a
had
short
to.
track thing. Nope.
so yeah, Phil
Dude.
Parker.
Dude. Me and Colby Brown, dude, that was like one of the most favorite epic battles I've ever had in my career.
I
That
meant to
shit
mention
was
that.
so dope.
Because
That shit was so dope. You have no idea
you
how
just
dope that
mentioned
was.
that you had a good battle with him at Iowa, and then another good battle at Tri-County.
They remind me of Lexi Herman.
Mm-hmm.
Lexi Herman was like the first car that I found myself around a lot when I first started racing in NR. And I don't know, I feel like me and Colby, we just have that connection.
All
I'm going to
right.
be in this guy's pants in it before you know it.
Probably.
What the
Let's Colby Brown's earned a Kraft sponsorship, huh?
Yes. So, so Phil Parker gets the bump and run on 2 laps to go and wins at Tri-County. It was overall a pretty good race, but personally for a couple of us, it wasn't very fun. But I
that means
raced.
it's going on the Essex Season 3 schedule.
Kez wants to put it there. We'll see. Nico and I raced at the Gnarl special event at Camtopia. That was something. It was. If you don't know what Camtopia is, it's just a wild track. It's not meant to be taken seriously, but it was mentally exhausting. Looking at where I finished. Well, first, Nico and I both qualified 3rd and 4th, so 2nd row, and I finished 9th. I don't know how I got 9th. I actually, halfway through that race, I was dealing with some actual strategy of trying to get a lap back and what I should do on pit road, and it was actually kind of fun from the driver's seat, but afterwards I was tired. So unfortunately, Nico, you DNF'd, but what was it that took you out again?
I just had engine damage the
Yeah.
entire race.
That's what it was. But yeah, we're not really going to talk about it much just because it was a fun, special event race. But we are closing in on the end of this season of Gnarl, so I'm out of the championship fight for sure. I'm just hoping I can finish in the top 10 in points at least, so we'll see. But you guys raced Score Daytona. I heard that was interesting.
It was a pretty good race. It was a pretty good race. We had green flag pit stops.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean
That's
it
always fun.
was really good pack racing. But sadly, I was trying to watch the Chicago street race and race at the same time. So in the beginning of the race, I found myself in the back, just chilling out. And then, like lap 3 of the race, Crystal Bennett on my outside gets loose and just turns into me. Little Dale Jr. action.
Yep.
And I got sent to the inside wall, and I absolutely pounded it. I had aero damage for the rest of the race. But I managed to finish in 3rd place. So
Oh yeah, I forgot you got a podium finish. It's cool.
I just, kept trucking. Found myself there at the end after listen. The only thing I like to toot my own horn about is my wreck avoidance.
Yes. You have some of the best luck when it comes to avoiding wrecks. It's just mind-blowing.
Hold on. There's skill involved. There's skill involved, all right? There's luck, but there's skill, all right?
Let's hear it.
I see the smoke on my outside. They're piling up on the outside. I dive it down over the apron. We're coming at 2 onto the backstretch. I dive it down onto the... Wait, where was the wreck?
Coming out of 2. Wait, where was it now?
Hold on, dude. Shut up. Dude. Where did the wreck happen?
Was it Phil Parker moment number 1 or number 2?
Dude, there were multiple. It was the one with Cam. So it was going into turn 1.
Yes.
And Phil Parker, I mean, it's like we're like a dirt track. He's trying to slide job at Daytona. He jumps it below the apron, and he tries a slide job and just doors Cameron out of the way. Craziest thing you've ever seen at Daytona. They all start wrecking. I diver down over the apron onto that flat, that flat asphalt down at the bottom of that steep banking over in Daytona. We're over on the flat asphalt, riding over the apron. We're getting loose. We're keeping it full throttle, by the way, and then we slide back up into the track, and we're back in line. We're right behind Dan Wilkins. I got Crystal Bennett behind me. We're fucking flying through the corners. Coming to the last lap, Crystal Bennett tells me I'm going to pass you below the apron because we knew there was no yellow line roll, and I go, no, you're not. That's exactly what I tell her. I go, no, you're fucking not, and guess what? She didn't pass me.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do
That's
it.
how you do it. Nico, how was your Daytona race?
I gave up. Same issues with the pedals, and I just gave up.
That sucks.
And Braden.
Yeah.
Braden.
What?
Your description of that finish reminds me of this quote from Rick James, right?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I didn't even hear that.
Huh?
I didn't even hear that. What was that?
Oh, he said, cocaine's a hell of a drug. So
Okay.
animated talking about it, man. Shit.
That's what we love about Braden. Braden's
I got
always
pumped about it, I was thinking about it, and I was just like, wow, man, that's got me juiced, dude. I got to talk about that, dude. It's got me juiced.
He's our resident crackhead here at Kona, too.
yeah. So
Whenever I'm sober.
I didn't put it in here just simply because I forgot, but we can briefly touch Velocity Racing League at Auto Club because that was heartbreaking for me. Braden got a first, front row view of it because he unfortunately got destroyed with like 10 to go and went up to the booth and called the final 10 laps of the race. But on the final restart, Nico had something that you tapped the wall or got loose coming out of two. I'm not sure what it was that happened. And I got to your outside and went around you, and then honestly had a really, really good battle with Zach Hillier. That it was clean, it was exciting because I kept taking his line away. I was just hugging the wall. He couldn't catch up to me, and he kept saying afterwards he was like, I knew I couldn't get up to you. I could catch you, but I couldn't pass you. So 10 to go at Auto Club, the first time I'm ever in contention to win a non-super speedway race. Final lap, into 3, I'm hugging the wall. Zach Hillier dives it down low for the first time since the restart. Dives down low, and I was afraid he was gonna come up and just door me into the wall. So I got nervous, gassed it up to try to get away from him. I get into the wall. I get loose, try saving it, and I overcorrect it, coming out of 4 onto the straightaway, coming to the checkered, and Zach Hillier wins, and I slide through the grass and finish 3rd. It was honestly, I said heartbreaking because that really is the best way of describing it. It's the first time I've ever been in contention to win a race on a quote-unquote real racetrack that isn't, plate racing. And it was my race to lose, and I lost it. So that was that. Overall, I thought it was a good race. Braden, you raced. Nico, you raced. I don't know how it was for you guys ultimately, but I thought it was fun. I always enjoy Auto Club. And we'll see. Maybe I can get a real win somewhere else, but
What are we doing? What? Don't say that. What are you saying?
I don't know.
You got 3 of them sons of bitches.
I know, but they're all plate wins, and a lot of people like to say that those aren't real wins. Even if they are, I want the satisfaction of saying oh, I've won at a non-plate track, or I've won at a short track, or it kind of ruined my night, to be honest. kept replaying that final lap in my head over and over again while I was like the hour or two afterwards. I was just like, if I didn't gas it up or if I saved it, I would have won. But yeah, it was kind of disheartening. But I am going to come back this week at Toledo. I'm going to try my best to win. I ran well there in Essex, finished second to Robbie, so maybe I can do something there. Hope you guys are able to show up, because I am
Nope.
committed to running the rest of the season. I had some harsh feelings Saturday night last week, but I am going to try to race every single race this season. So I will try to come back for Toledo and get a win. We'll see what happens. But moving on, we have Mr. Robbie Gilvin here, owner of
What?
Juan Fitty. How was Juan Fitty's most recent race? Kez Hiller won, as you mentioned, but overall, how was the race? As the league owner, what impressed you?
Well, the fact that we got as many cars as we did for being on a funky timetable. No, on the whole, the race itself was pretty uneventful. Well, we had 2 heats and had I think 2 like 15 lap heats and then a 30 something lap feature. Kez ran away with their feature, like, he was running away like the police were after them. But and then Chase Severs almost won the second heat, and then he spun out with like 2 or 3 to
no.
go. He looped it from the lead, man. It was
Oh
it
no.
was hilarious, but it was sad. Then Matt McIntyre went on to win that second heat, and then Kez basically just led the entire thing. I think flag to flag.
Wow. Yeah,
Besides we have a halftime inadvertent.
Kez,
It-
Kez is, especially since that race, a big dirt racing fan. They've been pushing dirt tracks for season 3 of Essex, and Braden and I have kind of been like, let's slow it down. We don't need 3 dirt races on the schedule, but yeah, they like dirt racing, so that's exciting for them. Poor Chase though. I know it's just a heat race, but a win is a win. That probably would have made their night.
I think he ended up like a lap down in 4th or 5th at the feature.
That's a shame. Poor Chase.
Average Chase Severs race.
So, yeah, I heard really good things. I'm glad that you guys had a good night. Any other leagues that we want to cover while we're here?
I don't think so, no.
All right. Moving into our next segment, we're going to call this one for now the NASCAR Pit Stop, where we're going to cover the latest in NASCAR. Obviously, NASCAR was just in Chicago, as Braden mentioned earlier when talking about score. They ran the Chicago Street Races, the Xfinity, and the Cup Series. The Xfinity race was, just those Xfinity cars, guys. They're just something else. They're so exciting. We saw a really, really fun battle with SVG and Kyle Larson. SVG went on to win the race. Every week the Xfinity cars put on just amazing racing. Okay, no one's going to build off of that, so we'll move to the Cup race.
I thought you were gonna ask somebody. Okay, dude. The Xfinity race was dope. Yeah, it was sick.
Like you said, we're podcasting. You gotta podcast.
I'm podcasting.
So
I've been podcasting.
the Cup race.
Thank you very much.
Yes, the Cup race. Mentioned SVG and Kyle Larson. Finished last and second to last this week, or for the Cup race. Chase Briscoe just cleaned out SVG, and Kyle Larson cleaned out himself. So we saw it become a timed race because of the sun setting and darkness was creeping over the racetrack. And we saw a really, really fun battle for that first stint of the timed portion with Joey Hand and Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman trying to chase Joey Hand down. Joey Hand won stage 2. And Alex Bowman went on to win the whole thing, which I was really excited about. I'm a big Alex Bowman defender. I'm a fan of his. So I thought it was, even though a timed race, we had some red flags for standing water, which I thought was frustrating, but I thought it was fun. Second year in a row, it was affected by rain, but I thought the Chicago street races were just awesome. Best, in my opinion, best road course on the schedule. Which might be a hot take.
I mean,
I'm curious what you guys think about that.
the Cup race was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a stinker. It was just, I mean, all the steam just got released out of it. I mean,
I can see
all
that,
all
that
the rain
argument, but
and
I enjoyed it.
NASCAR just completely just basically, this is what NASCAR did. They saw the rain, took their panties off, and swallowed them. It's pretty much what they did. Because I mean, standing water or not, you have wet rain tires. Wet rain tires are built for standing water. That is the entire point of them, so the car doesn't hydroplane. So why have wet tires if you're not going to use wet weather tires whenever they are built? For the reason that you are postponing the race. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know the extent of all the testing that they've done with it, but obviously they haven't done enough. And
I see that argument.
yeah. Anyways, they get the race back going, and it's just time shortened because there's no daylight, and the strategy was completely ruined because of that. So
Yeah.
and the coolest driver there, SVG, the one all of our eyes were on.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe did what he usually does and loses talent.
Yes.
So yeah.
What do you guys think, Nico and Robbie?
They need better wet tires. The tires that they had there, to me, feel like intermediates in F1. They need like extreme wet tires.
Okay.
Then that issue wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Robbie, any opinions on the street races?
Full disclosure, I didn't really pay attention after SVG got his shit clocked, but I'm glad Bowman broke a winless streak.
Yes.
Though, in spite of, that guy's been busting his ass since his concussion and his
It's
broken
been,
back, trying to get back into victory lane.
Yeah, it had been 80
Happy
races.
he won.
80
It's pretty
races
dope.
since Bowman found victory lane. It was spring Las Vegas of 2022 was his last win. So it's been a year
And it's a
half.
real win for all the
Yeah.
people who like to say that all of his wins are flukes. That was a real win.
And I wouldn't say that his wins are flukes, Like the first...
I'm not saying I say that.
No.
But like a lot of
I
people
agree.
just think that.
And it's just I
Like
think,
Auto Club, that's a real win. Chicagoland,
I think part
there's
of it
another one.
is
Martinsville.
is people just hate on Hendrick because it's Hendrick. But yeah, I've been an Alex Bowman fan since I saw him win at Martinsville in 2021. I liked him before that, but I became a fan when he wrecked Denny Hamlin, and it wasn't even his fault. It's just Martinsville. He just got into him, and Denny Hamlin spun. That's just Martinsville. I've been a fan of his since then, and the way that he stood up to Hamlin at the end and continued to do a burnout around him was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It happened right in front of me, and I've been a fan of his ever since. So I'm very, very happy to see Bowman get a win. Chase Evers, that we've talked about on this show, for whatever reason, argues with me all the time that Alex Bowman doesn't deserve a cup ride, and he doesn't deserve to be at Hendrick.
Hold on. It's
I
Chase
defend him.
Evers. Why
Chase
even
Evers,
Why even entertain it?
I
Why
don't
even
know.
entertain that
because
little
it's just fun.
huge thought?
It's fun to debate, but
You
Chase
can't argue
Evers
with a
is
sick mind,
literally
so don't try.
he is a pube. Chase Evers is a pube.
yeah,
From Wisconsin,
I am a
their
Alex
opinions are
Bowman
null
fan.
and void.
So I'm like Robbie said, I'm very happy for Bowman to break that winless streak because he's been working very hard since his concussion and his broken back to win, and he finally did it, and it was a real win. Doesn't matter if it was all the laps or not. He raced his way up there and held off the lead, or held off the cars coming from behind on slicks and won. That's how you do it. That's how you win a race. So post-race, we saw Bubba Wallace get into Alex Bowman to show retaliation for what happened earlier, running in the top 10. Both drivers on the bubble, the playoff bubble, important to mention. And Bowman spun Wallace on accident, was complaining that he just couldn't see out of his windshield. His wipers weren't doing what they needed to be doing. And Bubba got into him on the cool-down lap, and NASCAR has penalized him $50,000. This is kind of a hot topic right now because a lot of people don't think that he deserved to be penalized, and if it was, it didn't need to be this severe of a penalty in terms of cash, like a $20,000 fine, like what happened with Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch, probably would have been a little more reasonable. I'm of the crowd that thinks that they shouldn't have done anything anyway, because they've ignored countless times of drivers retaliating on the cooldown lap.
I do agree with it because his window net was down.
Yes,
I think that's
but
why they did it. That was the
there
whole
are
reason they did that.
plenty other situations where the window nets were down and they didn't do anything. First, we mentioned it, Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin hit Alex Bowman at Martinsville on the front straightaway trying to do his burnout with the window net down. And nothing.
That was a
nothing came
little
out of it.
different because I
Was
think
it?
it's because Bubba sandwiched him into the wall.
Okay, I could see that, but still, if it's the window net's down, if that's the argument, go
I
back
think
in
it's just a
history.
combination
There's
of
tons
things. His
things.
window net was down and he jammed him into the. I think that's what the penalty's for.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
And if that's so, I
respect
agree
it.
with it.
I respect it. I'm
You guys
okay
are
with
asking
the penalty.
NASCAR to be consistent?
Yeah, pretty much
That's
is what we're
crazy.
asking.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I don't think he deserves a penalty. I'm fine with the penalty. I just think $50,000 is a little severe, especially since, Bowman said don't penalize him. I'm fine. Like, I deserved it. And I don't remember exactly what the number was, but Ricky Stenhouse clocked Kyle Busch and only got like a $20,000 fine. I don't know.
No, I think it was 75 grand.
Was it? I thought it was less
Yeah,
than that.
it was 75
Yeah.
grand, and his dad was.
Oh,
You
I
got
thought
his
it was
hard card
less.
yanked you.
So I stand corrected. I thought it was less. But yeah.
Yeah, get corrected. Get corrected, Connor.
I'm not afraid to admit that I was wrong. So another thing that happened in Chicago, and this is another hot topic, NASCAR has unveiled their electric vehicle with no plans to run or replace a series of its own at any time soon. This is more just to show that NASCAR is willing to innovate, and they've said that they are committed to the standard combustion engine for the foreseeable future. So, from my point of view, in my opinion, all the people who are screaming and crying about the electric vehicle replacing the Cup Series, that's never going to happen. So,
I don't know where people ever got that idea.
yeah.
I really don't.
I think a
If
lot of
NASCAR
people
had electric engines, it would. I don't know, dude. It would just.
A
Yeah,
lot of
it would
people
kill the.
saw-
Literally.
it'd
Yeah.
kill the sport. It would be throwing a grenade in the sport, and they know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of stupid that people just see electric engine and they're like, oh, I'm mad. I'm never watching NASCAR again.
Woke. Get Elon out of NASCAR.
Yeah.
We're
So
going woke.
let's actually sit down and read the article that NASCAR has released and read and see, oh, this is not going to replace any series anytime soon. So
It is fast though. I will
it's
admit.
very fast.
Dude,
it has
it's fast,
but it sounds
like
1,500
shit.
horsepower.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks very. It's not the most
It's not the best looking car in the
attractive thing in the world.
I was
but
gonna
that thing
say
is
it.
dope. Like under the hood, that thing is sick.
world.
I was
1,300
gonna say it
horsepower.
looks. I was gonna say the damn thing looks like an AI generated image of a Porsche 911
kinda
in a Japan
does.
Super GT race.
I really wish they did like some kind of electric version of like some kind of late model, like a futuristic looking late model. That'd be
That
sick.
would be cool.
But see,
But
that's
no.
that's the beauty of that electric thing. Hardly any transmission, so all that power from that motor goes right to the wheels.
Yeah,
Gets that crazy good launch.
it's good. And I saw on Twitter, so take this with a grain of salt, that someone was asking, the officials and everyone who's there unveiling the car, like, what can we expect out of this? And right now, that car is only designed to race short tracks and road courses. So don't expect to see it on a 1.5 mile or a plate race track anytime
That
soon.
could be a
That
good-
thing
that could be a
on a
good road
short
course
track
car.
is gonna look interesting.
It
They
is.
That could
probably
be
have to have bigger batteries or something for that.
Yeah.
It, like we were saying, this isn't going to replace the Truck Series. It's not going to replace the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series anytime soon. If anything,
Nobody
it's going to
watches
be
the truck.
if anything, it's going to be a standalone electric series, kind of like Formula
Like
E.
It's going to be like Pinty's or like the NASCAR Euro
Yeah,
Series.
it's
That's
going to
all
be
it's
its
going
own
to be.
standalone thing. It'll probably go to, some road courses across the country, probably go up to Canada. I don't know, maybe race Martinsville or
More an
something.
exhibition series.
Yeah,
to
more
me.
of like an exhibition series. Obviously, we aren't insiders. We aren't in the NASCAR circle, so we're just spitting at the wall right now. We've got
Well, you
nothing.
got to lie a little bit. We got to get some kind of credibility.
That's
We
true.
got to. We got to be.
As long as
Um,
it don't end up like an old Speedway division NASCAR
You know,
has
yeah.
back in the
I've
50s.
gotten an autograph from a NASCAR driver. It's close enough, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much in the garage.
um,
I'm there every week.
You
So,
are the garage.
Rodney Childers broke the news this week that he's going to crew chief Corey LaJoy in the 7 car at Spire Motorsports, which I'm excited about, but I know Corey LaJoy's kind of not the most popular guy in the world. He's typically the timed caution every week. But as a person, I like him, so I'm excited for this. But what do you guys think about Rodney Childers going to Spire?
Make or break for Corey LaJoy.
I agree.
That's
I
really
think it
all
is
it
make
is.
or break. But I see. Yes, he needs to definitely show improvement year over year. He's got Rodney Childers on the box, but I think this is also going to help Spire as a whole organization. You've got Rodney Childers in the building. He won a championship. He's gotten underdogs wins before, so he brings a lot of knowledge to the table. Spire's continuing to pay the big bucks for the big people.
He's got to be Carson Hocevar handily week in and week out then, if he wants to
Yeah.
keep that ride.
Yeah, he needs to, because Carson is on a tear right now in that 77. Any other opinions on that, guys?
I mean, I don't want to say anything because I'm going to sound like a douchebag. But I mean, I've taken a picture with Corey LaJoy. He's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But man, ever since Atlanta in 2022, that guy has been on a straight downward spiral into the ocean floor.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like the new Quinn Half.
kinda.
So I don't know how that's gonna go. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, then I'm assuming Hocevar will get privilege to use Rodney Childers. That sounded so wrong.
So,
But-
do you think that or McDowell?
Oh, that's right, McDowell. Probably McDowell, yeah.
Because I think the perfect pairing is right there. It's McDowell and Childers. I think they'd make, a really good team.
They both have like the same haircut.
Yes, they do. They kind of look the same.
Very aerodynamic.
Yes, very aerodynamic. So, more silly season news. Today, actually, Noah Gragson announced that he signed a multi-year deal with Front Row Motorsports. So Front Row's showing some change and actually signing multi-year deals. They were, signing a lot of single-year deals for a long time. I think this isn't too much of a shock, but I'm excited to see Gragson go over to Front Row. I think he'll run well there. It's a Tier 1 organization now, 3-car team.
Well, we technically don't know if it's a 3-car team yet.
Well, they bought a third charter, so.
No announcement yet.
I'm sure.
There's no announcement for a driver, but they did announce that they've bought a third charter. So
I mean, I'm sure it'll go decent. I guess. I don't really know what to say on that. Honestly,
I expect him to run as well as he is now, or a little bit better. If there's definitely going to be some growing pains at the start of the season, growing to a 3-car team. But yeah, I think
Done it before.
they've done it before.
He's running
but
pretty good right now.
He is running well. They've done it before, but they kind of struggled. They had to downsize. So I don't know.
Because they
we'll see
had
what
Cole
happens.
Witt.
Yes, they did. They did have Cole Witt, but yeah.
They had Cole Witt, Josh.
Don't
Wise,
talk
and
shit about my
David
boy
Reagan.
Cole Witt. No Cole Witt slander on this podcast.
So, Robbie, any feelings about the move to Front Row for Gragson?
Yeah, keeps him in a Ford.
It does keep him in a Ford. I feel like that's pretty important.
Well, we need him back in the Chevy. That's what we need.
Ford is losing a lot.
If that was the case,
a
he'd
lot
go
of
to
good
RCR.
guys. Yeah,
They need to make Front Row a Dodge team again.
No.
So, I think that's about it for the NASCAR pit stop section of the show. we will move on to our final section, which is going to be the top 5 of the week. This is obviously something something that we've been doing a lot for the last
Jesus.
couple of weeks, doing top 5 or top 10 lists. So this is a topic that we aren't going to do every single week, but if there's room for it, we will try to do a top 5 every week. This week, since we've got a musician in the studio, we're going to do our top 5 favorite musical artists at the moment. Not of all time, because for me, that changes every single day. At the moment, also changes every single day, but for right now, favorite artists, 5 of them. We'll do this similar to how Braden and I did last week. Just list off your list and we can talk about it. We got the musician in the building, so Robbie, if you want to go first, who are your 5 favorite musical artists, groups, right now?
Dale Earnhardt. No,
Dale Earnhardt, yeah.
no, I'd say number 5 on that list right now is none of y'all have probably heard about probably 2/3 of these people, but number 5 would probably be J.D. Crowe and the New South. They're a bluegrass band. Especially if you listen to their record, it's called Rounder 0044.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the more influential bluegrass records of all time. Got Ricky Skaggs playing mandolin and fiddle, Tony Rice on guitar, J.D. Crowe on banjo, Jerry Douglas playing dobro. A lot of those guys, Jerry Douglas, Ricky Skaggs, they're still around. They're in the country scene now. But a lot of that influenced a lot of bluegrass musicians, and I play some bluegrass from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps, kind of influences me too. I think number 4 would probably be Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh wait, aren't we
Yes.
supposed to go like one at a time?
No. Well,
Sorry,
Sorry to
that was
interrupt,
last week.
but okay. Sorry.
Anyway,
You're good.
take 2. Number 4 is Chicago. Um, that kind of more of the same thing. Their horn section, is, probably about the best horn section that there is in popular music from the 70s on.
Yeah. I
Still
like
touring
Chicago.
and everything. Yeah. Back when by Chicago experience, and I love their ballads from the 80s, but I also love their stuff in the 60s, through to the mid 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
Because with Terry Kath as guitar player, a lot of my guitar playing channel, I try to channel Terry Kath. He's a major influence in my guitar playing. But yeah, if you listen to shit like 25 or 6 to 4, or here's a real album cut for you. It's called Poem 58 off their first CTA album. It's just it's like an 8-minute song. The first 6 of it is just Terry Kath on guitar, Peter Cetera on bass, Danny Serafin on drums, just jamming, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But all right, going on to number 3, because I don't want to take too much time up. Number 3 would probably be, I'd say Styx. More of the same reasons. I
Solid
like their
choice.
stuff. Yeah, I like that. I like a healthy mix of their ballads, but I do like their rock stuff.
Yeah.
But number 2 would probably be, it's a band called Poco.
Okay.
It's basically a country rock. It came out of the ashes of Buffalo Springfield. The people who did.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that, hey, what's that sound? It came out of that country rock, and the fun fact about that one is both bass players, Randy Meisner and Timothy B. Schmidt, actually went on to be in my number 1 pick, which I'll get to in a second. Poco is basic, really good, solid country rock from the late 60s through to the mid 70s and even onward. They don't tour. I think they're pretty much done. Their steel guitar player passed away a few years ago. But anyway, yeah, the Poco number 2, and then number 1 would be the Eagles. Hands down, they're always.
Oh
my favorite
hell
rock
yeah!
Yeah. That's
We
gonna be a
see-
popular choice.
Yeah, see, we it's funny, in Melomania we actually play Hotel California, and think here in a couple days at this next gig we're debuting Life in the Fast Lane. We've worked up.
Nice. I have not played in a very long time, and I never got very good at it. But when I got my acoustic guitar in high school, the first song I learned how to play rhythm for was Hotel California.
But yeah, I think the Eagles, more than anything, have probably been my biggest inspiration. Especially my singing voice, it's not that good, but I try to sound a little bit like Glenn Fry. I
Hmm.
try to write like Glenn Fry and Don Henley.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're some of the best
um,
to
yeah,
ever
it
do it.
helped. I'd say probably my biggest guitar heroes, I guess you'd say, my biggest influences in playing are probably Joe Walsh and Don Felder.
Yep. I
Uh,
like Joe Walsh. I like a lot of
yeah. Yeah.
his solo career
See,
stuff.
see, we do. Yeah, we play Funk 49 and Walk Away with him.
Hmm.
It's James Gang, but still.
Yeah,
But
James Gang.
yeah, I'd say, but yeah, Don Felder's probably one of my biggest guitar inspirations. But yeah, I don't want to ramble too much. That's basically my five right here. Next.
Anyone? Anyone want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. Number 5 for me, and you're gonna notice a genuine taste in music. What I listen to most, but number 5, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Disturbed.
Okay.
It was the most
Yeah.
recent concert I saw out near Syracuse. They were on tour with Ginger and a band that's going to be a little further up the list. Number 4, I'm going to go with Ghost. Uh, really good melodies, especially in later albums, Prequel and Impera. I could find myself listening to those on repeat forever. Number 3, I'm going to go with Slipknot. It's the first band I discovered on my own. And when I try to sing very poorly, I try to model it off of Corey Taylor. Even my screams are modeled off him. So number 2, Breaking Benjamin. Mostly the top 2 are most of the bands that got me into playing guitar.
Hmm.
But an honorable mention to that is Rammstein as well. But Breaking Benjamin was at that concert with Disturbed, one of the supporting acts for that. Great melodies. Phobia is one of those albums you do not skip through any songs. That and We Are Not Alone, which turned 20 years old this year, and I made a card based on that. I wish I ran more in IFAR, but I didn't. And then number 1, if you can't tell, I'm listening to him right now, but Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Again, one of the bands I love playing guitar to. Mostly songs like Paper Cut, Faint, um, One Step Closer. I always love playing, and a place for my head is really underrated. Uh, Both playing it and listening to it. So those are my 5.
Awesome. Braden, you want to go next?
Very, it's very 2000s.
Want to go last, or do I want me to go last?
It's up to you.
Dude, you go. You go.
Okay.
I like hearing these.
Um,
This is fun.
So I first got into like actually listening and discovering music like middle school, and I really got into like 80s pop and 80s rock and stuff. So a lot of Duran Duran, um, Tears for Fears,
Hell yeah.
obviously Michael Jackson, that kind of stuff. I got into high school and started listening to more like 70s, 60s and 70s classic rock. Um, so, you know, the Eagles, the Rolling Stones, like late Rolling Stones before they fell off. So, you know, Sticky Fingers, that era of Rolling Stones. The Beatles, Pink Floyd was one of my favorite bands a couple years ago. And then the last year I decided I was going to start listening to some newer stuff. So a lot of the mainstream pop stuff I actually enjoy, and then the last year or so I've really been getting into like the punky alternative stuff. So
I don't want to make an allegation here, but aren't you a Swiftie?
I am a Swiftie. She's not in my top 5 right now. I haven't listened to Taylor Swift in a while.
I tried to get Connor hooked onto baby metal, that didn't
Yeah,
work.
but I actually I saw her in concert at the Eras tour last year, and that was one of the best concerts I've ever been to, just for production and the size and scale of it was just really, really impressive. So that's what got me hooked on it. But right now, I'm listening to a lot of alternative and kind of punky stuff. So number 5 right now is probably Bowling for Soup. Um, a lot of people know them for
1985.
yes. A lot of people know them for the making the opening to Phineas and Ferb, but and Jimmy Neutron. But they have a lot of really good punk rock songs, and a lot of them are covers of other songs, and I just really, really like listening to their stuff. Number 4, I'm probably gonna go with Maroon 5, like their first album specifically. That's just a really, really good pop rock album from the early 2000s, and I like a couple of their hits after that, but that first album was just really, really good. 3, I'll probably go with Coldplay. I've always been a Coldplay fan. I've listened to Coldplay for a very long time. Um, so if there's nothing else I want to listen to, I usually go for Coldplay. Um, Not just their hits. I like a lot of their underground stuff. I went on a deep dive of Coldplay's discography last year and found a lot of unknown stuff that's really good. Um, Number 2, I'll probably go Cage the Elephant. They're, a more modern pop rock band. They actually just released a new album that I'm not a huge fan of, but I think they've got a lot of really, really good hits. And then my favorite band right now is actually a band that really no one knows about. They're called Mama. I saw them open for Girl in Red in Chicago a couple months ago, and they are an alternative punk, alternative alt rock kind of band. Their 2 big hits is Medicine and Speeding 72. Those are really good. I heard them play that live, but their most recent album, Household Name, I actually have on vinyl now because it was so good. So yeah, they're kind of unknown, but they're definitely someone that you should go listen to. They're an alternative rock band on the rise, and they have a new album coming out soon. So that's my top 5. Braden, what's your top 5?
All right, here we go. Let me find my list. It's totally here. There it is. Okay. Number 5, I've got the most 2000 sounding band ever. They sound so sick. Yellow Card.
I've never heard of them.
Okay,
That band is so dope.
I've heard of them.
It's like super. I don't know, dude. They sound so good, dude. Like I'm a little too under the influence to really go into detail, but yeah, their songs are pretty dope. And I don't know what my favorite song from them would be, but there's a lot of really good ones. Empty Apartment might be my favorite. Next, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It's a good one. Good
Whenever
pick.
I first started like really listening to music in freshman year of high school, whenever I started getting into listening to rock and shit, I recognize a lot of their songs obviously because it is in fact the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes.
They're pretty big. And I thought their shit sounded pretty dope. So yeah, there's number 4. My favorite song is probably Under the Bridge.
Good pick.
My number 3 slot, I've got Chevelle.
Ooh, okay.
Just a totally sick band. I only discovered them like a year ago. And oh my god, dude, they sound. I can't even they're pretty dope. They're pretty dope. I'll say that. Super out of all the bands I've listened to, dude, they've got the sickest album covers. For sure, man. They've got the dopest album covers. My favorite song is probably Jars or Sending the Pain Below. Or Saturdays. That's a good one.
Okay.
And then number 2, I put my list together and I'm like, man, should I throw these guys on there? And I actually put them pretty high, but I just kind of had to have a little self-realization moment for myself. I listen to them quite literally all the time. I've been to a concert of theirs, Sublime.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a really good pick. I like a
I
lot of their
yeah,
stuff.
totally rips some Sublime.
See,
Lead singer died.
One of my bands does What I Got. This is our band intro song.
Dope. Hell yeah.
Remember that.
Lead singer, of course, died a while ago when I wasn't alive. My dad introduced them to me, and yeah, I've been listening to them a lot, and they're pretty sick. My favorite song? I do not know. They got a lot.
They do.
Don't
have
know
a lot.
my
Is that
favorite
an
song.
actual song? Oh.
Well, I was gonna say "Chick on My Tip," but that song's all right. It's pretty funny though. Number one, it's like a no-brainer. I don't think any band will ever beat them. It's Green Day.
I thought about putting them on my list because I listen to a lot of Green Day.
I listen to them daily. They have obviously easily the most songs on my playlist. Yeah,
What do you
listen
think?
to them
What do you think
a whole lot.
of their new album?
Dude, their new album is incredible.
I like
Oh
it.
my god. It's so good, dude. It is so good. I forgot the name of the song was, but it's the Corvette one. That's like in the
Oh, yeah,
title.
yeah.
I forgot like the full name
I,
of the song. That's easily the best. So that's like a top 5 Green Day song ever for me. That
I-
shit is such a bop.
I listened to "The American Dream Is Killing Me" when it came out as a single, like on repeat.
Yeah, that was.
I really
it came
liked
it came out like a year before the album came out. That
Yeah,
shit was ridiculous.
and it kind of reminded me of American Idiot, not for a similar name, but just I felt like the vibe in the song itself didn't sound the same, but it sounded like it was calling back to that, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, Connor, you
my
said punk, and there was some definitely punk bands you probably could have put on there, but you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't put like the Offspring. You didn't put Green Day. Come on, man.
I
and
was
like
just
my
going
other
off of-
lists, I have an honorable mentions list like we've done with the other ones. I don't think you guys put one, but
I didn't.
I have another honorable mentions that I have to name because my honorable mentions has like 50 bands, but I can't list them and talk about them all day, or else we're gonna be here for another 5 hours. So if I was to just pick a few, The Offspring for sure is one of them. The Killers, Stone Sour.
Yep. Okay.
Um,
I did an English project, and I used Made of Scars for like a
Hell yeah.
non-literary piece, and I got like a 97 on it.
I've got The Strokes in here. Let's see what else. Jimmy's Chicken Shack. That shit rips. That's a good stoner band. Jimmy's Chicken Shack. Nobody here has probably heard of them.
I have.
I'm assuming. You have?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, dude. Apparently, I found one of their songs out of nowhere, and I looked them up, and apparently, I don't know if it was correct or if I read it wrong, but they were the first ever band to have an MTV music video. I think.
Cool.
I could be like totally wrong about that, but I think they're the first ever band to have an MTV music video. Well, no, I think I am wrong about that. Because didn't MTV do music videos in like the 80s?
Hmm.
Maybe.
I think they did.
They were the first to do something, and it helped blow them up a lot. But they shrunk like pretty quick, and they didn't release like too much music, and they don't have many listeners now.
I have heard of them.
Let's say if we're going through honorable mentions, I got something too.
I could probably
I've
list
got
a couple
Rising-
off the top of my head, but I don't.
I've got a few easy ones. I got like Blink 182. You know, I got Rise Against. I like Rise Against a lot.
I got Gorillaz. I got Hollywood Undead. Volbeat.
If I had to,
Volbeat rips.
if I had to list a couple, the Smiths. I've listened to a lot of them recently. Chapel
like the
Roan's
Smiths, yeah, they
blowing up.
fuck.
I like a lot of her stuff. Green Day, Blink 182.
Corn.
No, I actually don't listen to Korn very much.
Oh, you are so missing out.
The Cranberries. I listen to the Cranberries a lot. A lot of Pearl Jam, Oasis.
Static X.
I've got some few. Well, no, these aren't smaller bands, but of the Bouncing Souls and Pennywise.
I got some
Anyone-
Jason Mraz. Jack Johnson.
Here's a hot take. I actually unironically like Weezer.
Dude,
Who
Weezer's
doesn't
good.
Who doesn't
People
love
people who
Weezer?
talk shit about Weezer are just stupid, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
unironically
Yeah, Robbie,
like
don't
a
talk
lot
shit
of
about
their stuff.
Weezer.
The presidents of the United States of America is a deep cut, but I like them.
Dude, the Slash Street Boys. Yeah. Have you ever seen those on YouTube?
I don't think
What
I
else?
have.
What else was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. What the fuck?
Ice Nine Kills is a good up and coming band as well. Well, they've been around for a bit, but still, Ice Nine Kills is pretty good.
But yeah, anything else that we want to touch on?
I don't. Dude, I swear to God, I had like something in my head that I was gonna say, but I just like didn't say it. So.
Well, that's all right. Maybe it'll come to you next week. So yeah, that's
Dude, whatever.
whatever. So yeah, that's probably gonna be it unless something pops up last second here. But yeah, I will try to get the links to Robbie's band's pages in the description below.
Wait, Robbie.
Hmm.
Bagels or donuts?
Not this question.
Muffins.
Fried chicken.
There's your answer.
Fried chicken. Come on,
So,
man.
yeah,
Boo.
Robbie, thank you for being here. It was really fun getting to ask you some questions and get your opinions on things. Thank you, Nico and Braden, for being here every single week, like always. And
You'll be hearing from my lawyer in the morning.
probably. So yeah, I am very thankful for everyone who's made it this far into the episode. Thank you for listening every single week. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below, and we will try to implement any ideas that you guys have. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week.